welcome back to the ASQ podcast. Today we have Manik, the founder of Icy, a two-part business where he has his own clothing brand as well as a manufacturing facility where he produces lines for other companies. Welcome on, bro. Good to have you on.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you. I've seen a lot of your content too.
Appreciate it, bro.
Yeah.
So I want to start at the very beginning. You've shared this online a lot, but I want to jump in to the origin of your story.
Yeah.
I know you started your clothing line almost a decade ago, back in uni, while working at Subway, and you sketched out the first version of that Icy logo while you're working your job. So tell me about the journey of building Icy from that vision as a young kid to what it is now.
Yeah, no, 100%. So I was working at Subway, and I was actually in Wilfrid Laurier University. So I was studying in Kitchener. You mentioned you
That's my hometown.
It's your hometown, yeah. So I was working at Subway. I went to school thinking I was going to become an accountant. I was in Wilfrid Laurier. I was working at Subway. I had a few odd jobs. And I always wanted to start a clothing brand because I was into clothes.
Yeah.
So I sketched out a couple logos. And not a lot of people know this, but I renamed the brand 4 times. Like my first brand ever was called the Shoe Daddy.
The Shoe Daddy.
Yeah, like as sus as that sounds, that was what my first brand was called. I was 17 years old. I wanted to be a sneaker reseller. I got a job at Value Village, a thrift store.
Yeah.
That was my first job I ever had, and I named a brand Shoe Daddy, which is looking back at it, the most cringe name you could have ever named a brand. But to be fair, I was 16 years old, 17 years old, right?
It probably sounded great at the time.
Nah, even then, a few people were like, man, it's not the best name, but I wanted to give it a name that people would never forget, right? So that was the first brand name. Within 6 months, I rebranded.
Yeah.
The next brand I had was called Northwears. That was a vintage clothing business where I was buying clothes from Value Village and reselling it on eBay, Etsy, Facebook, any marketplace that I could flip, right? Because if you have no money, the only way to really get your first $100, $1,000, even first $10,000 is to go from flipping, right?
Yeah.
I know maybe you've seen Gary Vee and these guys talk about hustling in
Garage
garages
sales.
and stuff. Garage sales.
Yeah.
I was doing that. So that was the second iteration. And then the third iteration was let me actually make a brand out of this vintage clothing business into something that I could scale beyond just used clothes. So I'm if I name it something that maybe I could pivot into another business model someday, I could. Then I came across Icy, right? And I named the brand Icy because I'm even if I don't sell vintage clothing and used clothes today, I could always name it something else in the future, right? It could always be a different business.
Yeah.
It could be a software business. It could be a clothing brand. It could even be a podcast studio. You don't really have any limitations.
Yeah, it's versatile. It's not because Shoe Daddy, it is what it is. You can't really work off that.
You can't work off that. So I named it Icy because I'm I don't want to be put in any box. I don't want my product to be in my brand name. And I want to give it a name that could live beyond just what my product is, right? Because Apple's first version of the Mac wasn't the Mac, right?
Yeah.
Lamborghini was not, a sports car the way it is now, right? Every business had their first iteration, and then they have what their final product may look like to the mass market today. So you have to have a brand name that could go beyond just, something that has a little bit more context and clarity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because especially I feel with clothing, branding is very important. And I feel one of the hardest industries that I've seen to grow in is the clothing industry. So going from reselling and buying stuff at Value Village to selling it on eBay to your friends just hustling, what was the transition between that and going into production and starting your own facilities, clothing lines? How you said every company has to iterate. So what was step 0 after the reselling to the progress of iterating? What were the iterations that you made throughout your business?
Yeah, so the iteration had to happen because you get to a point of being a vintage clothing business owner that you realize that the business sucks. The vintage clothing business actually is one of the worst business models that you could ever have because it doesn't make money. Every single thing is one of one, right? Right now, the podcast studio host, he was wearing a t-shirt. And if I wanted to go and wear that t-shirt, ask him where it's from, I can't buy that shirt. Right. So if you're wearing a watch and I like that watch, I can go online and buy it. But the vintage clothing business, everything is one SKU, one unit. How can you scale a business like that? So you get to a point where you're always on the hunt for new product that you never actually think about marketing. You never think about sales. You don't have a strategy because your business model is finding new products. So that was step 0. It was how do I get out of the cycle of used clothes, out of always looking for the next big thing? A vintage clothing store owner is basically a glorified garbage man. You are a garbage man if you sell vintage clothes, because you are sifting through, it's called rag houses. You go to places where they are used clothing recyclers, and these recyclers, they're letting you go into literally, bro, like garbage. I'm talking used underwear, used, I'm not even joking, used underwear, like used everything, man. And you're filtering through like people's used clothes, used blankets, and you're trying to find vintage garments. So you get to a point where like you're waking up at 7 a.m. to go pick through people's used garments that you're like, man, this is not something that I could do for the next 10 years, the next 15 years. This can't feed generations.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I love clothes, but I don't want to sell used clothes anymore. I want to build a brand, right? So the first iteration was printing on used clothes. I bought a used GTX 600, which is a garment printer. It's a DTG printer. I bought a used DTG printer, and I started printing on vintage blanks. And the market picked up on it. Like I was printing like a whole bunch of vintage inspired graphics, like, you know, pictures of Kobe. We were making all these designs in-house. At heart, I'm a graphic designer. Spent a lot of time on Photoshop. And I started designing items, putting them on vintage blanks. And I bought one printer, and then one printer turned to two printers now turned to 9 printers. And now we just kept going printer after printer and scaling into like now an apparel brand that's making everything in-house. Yeah.
So it started with you literally realizing like, I'm a middleman in this business. This isn't scalable. At this time, what was the timeline between you stopping that and then starting to like print your own stuff? Like, do you make currently your own clothing?
Yeah, we make everything in-house right now. So every single garment that we make right now outside of the blank itself, we make in-house. So we do all the finishing, all the embroidery, all the printing, all the neck tag stitching. We import our blanks from India, China. Even we work with local blanks here, and then we do the finishing in-house.
Okay.
But start to finish, the garment is made by us, right? So we have a factory in India that we work with. We bring it here, and then we do all the finishing. And every single garment now is considered made in Canada.
So with building up that like side of the business of like finding these right factories, because I have friends who have tried to do clothing brands. I have friends that have done a lot of e-commerce, and I know that one of the hardest things within this industry is finding good suppliers. And so how did you first find these people and companies in India or wherever? What was the process of like you picking the right one?
Yeah, so man, in the beginning, you're gonna get hit with manufacturers that are gonna give you a hard time because they can smell out when it's your first time.
Yeah.
A manufacturer will talk to you, they'll ask you a few questions, and they could read the room because they've done it 1,000 times. So once a manufacturer feels like you're a smaller brand, that's when they try to cut corners. They might send you the wrong fabric. They might delay your sample. They'll just push you to the back because they don't value your business. So I guess the number one step to finding a great manufacturer is first like building up your brand reputation, either through like organic content or like understanding the language of a manufacturer. Because there's very specific things that you could say to a manufacturer for them to want to work with you. But a lot of people just don't know those things to say. I guess the number one thing to talk to when you're working with a manufacturer is to just be ready, right? A lot of times, like people are contacting manufacturers and they don't have a tech pack, right? A technical pack is like every single spec of the garment that you want to make. Without a tech pack, you shouldn't be even contacting a manufacturer because you're not ready, right? Tech pack, step number one. Step number two is like actually understanding the questions that a manufacturer is going to ask you, right? What's the quantity you want to get? What's your printing technique that you want? Do you want a fabric label? Do you want a printed label? Do you want a cotton t-shirt, polyester t-shirt? The list of questions can go on, right? We can do this for days. But these questions you need to have answers for. Otherwise, the manufacturer is gonna, you know, they're not gonna respect your business.
Yeah. How did you learn all this? Because you don't come from like you've always been interested in clothing, but you didn't study like fashion manufacturing. Like, how did this knowledge like come about?
YouTube University.
Just YouTube.
Just bro, YouTube University. Like there are guys who are a lot older than me with a lot more experience who made a shit ton of free videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
And if I don't have the answer to any question, like I could come here, I could try to sell a course, but everything I learned was for free. So that's why I'll never sell a course or try to act like the information is to be paid for. It's all out there.
Yeah.
And if it's not on YouTube, it's one Google search away for you to find it, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is before the ChatGPT era. Now we have ChatGPT, but I'm imagining when you were building it up, like 2016, it was YouTube was king.
YouTube's still king. Like even guys right now that are trying to get into e-com, I'm like, bro, stop asking me. I'm not the e-com messiah. There are guys on YouTube that have understood the game way deeper than maybe even I have that could answer some of the questions that you might have about e-com. Entry level questions, man.
Yeah.
Like, how do I start my store? how do I find my first product? Like these simple questions are even like TikTok videos
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
could find. But like the right person will understand that the information's out there, right? Majority of people, like they're so hesitant to even try to get the learning themselves that they'd rather just a phone call with somebody and they just tell them everything. But it doesn't work that way.
I feel like most people don't do like the bare minimum. So like a lot of times people will approach me with similar things of like, they'll ask me like weird question like, what do you use to edit your videos, or what process, what camera? It's like this stuff is almost irrelevant because like you haven't even done the basics of the basics to like learn the like foundation of it. And like all this, like you said, is a Google search away. The other thing is there's also in this space specifically like e-com, there's a lot of like fake guru, like, all right, I just scaled my store to 500K. Now let me show you how to do the same, but they've never actually done that. Or are some of these resources that you would recommend to people to like, or some credible people that like you grew up watching or respect now in the industry that you recommend people to check out?
Yeah, I just want to preface by saying if you're in e-com and you're selling a course, you're not in e-com.
Yeah, exactly.
You are a course seller. Let's actually distinguish those two things.
Yeah.
Because e-com for the right person could be so lucrative. You can make so much money that you wouldn't want to sell information. It would be a waste of your time.
Yeah.
Right? So I guess if I was to give credit to people in e-com, man, it's always these like random accounts, niche accounts that have like 1,000 subscribers.
That's always
these guys that have like a couple hundred subscribers, like they get to a point where like they want so much more out of their YouTube channel that they end up dropping a course, right? They end up becoming content creators because they've seen success with their YouTube.
Yeah.
But I'd say the best guys on YouTube right now that you want to get e-com sauce from are those like niche accounts, 1,000 subs, 2,000 subs.
Yeah.
Those guys will give you a bunch of free value because their content hasn't reached mass market. So they'll give you whatever information for the free.
That's always the case in every industry. I feel like once you hit a certain threshold of following, then it's like you no longer do the thing that you're teaching. And now it's like you said, you're now like a content creator, course seller. Yeah, it's prevalent in every industry.
Yeah, like people message me too and they ask me if I have any courses or if I have mentorship available. And bro, frankly, I will never sell a course and I probably won't do mentorship. Like my focus is just my brand. That's what I spend, 100 hours a week doing. And even my content, the only reason I make my content the way I make it is because I'm going out, I'm meeting with manufacturers, and I decided to hire people that specialize in content to document my journey.
Yeah.
Right. So I wouldn't even be making content if it wasn't for me already being out there doing the things that I'm doing, which is meeting manufacturers, trying to find the best products for my brand, and then happen to also make content because I know it's going to live there forever.
Yeah.
And bro, content compounds, like you know that better than anybody running your content. So
yeah, that's like, I always recommend people, if no matter what industry, just like make videos about it, because it's not the reason of like garnering the audience to like sell a course to or whatever. It's because you get unlimited credibility whenever you want to do stuff with your business. So for example, you as a CEO of your company, if you have a large following, despite you having a bunch of success, nobody knows about it. Now you talk about it, you put it out there. When you're meeting with manufacturers, you're trying to do like licensing deals. They just like give you more credibility because like they've seen you online, and like it just has like unlimited leverage. So I definitely think what you're doing, your content's super smart. I want to go back to the beginning of your story. And I know you went to school, you studied accounting. Did you end up finishing, or what happened there?
I was in school for 2 years, and it got to a point where I was studying business.
Yeah.
I was in school for 2 years, and I just lost respect for a lot of the professors I had because they didn't want to see me do econ. Like in class, like I would talk about ecom, or sometimes I'd have tabs open, and they wanted me to go the traditional route, which is become an accountant, go into finance, and they couldn't actually visualize the students in their classrooms becoming business owners. So I'm like, okay, if business owners are not going through the traditional education route to get the outcome that I'm looking for, then I got to leave school. So my mom's actually a teacher. So I have a lot of respect for people that are, educators, like professors and teachers, but there's a level of education that you just can't get if you're trying to, build a business, or you're trying to like work for yourself, frankly. Obviously, the cliche is that your professors that are business professors, they've never ran a business. There's a reason that they're teachers. Everyone's heard that, right?
Yeah.
But like traditionally, in like the most obvious sense too, like in schools when I launched my business. And if in university I was able to reach the bare minimum salary that an accountant would get, that was like my little step away now, right? It's like I've been in school, I've had my online business for 6 months. And if my business was at that time able to reach, 100K revenue while I'm a university student year 2, I didn't see a purpose of me being a university student.
Yeah.
I was like, if I give this right now, rather than 20 hours a week, 100 hours a week, or even 80 hours a week, I'm going to have a much better outcome because my attention is now focused on this one objective.
Yeah.
Right? Like my biggest problem that I have with people that are side hustlers or they have many different passion projects is you're not giving one thing the love and attention it needs. You can't be a university student with a side hustle business and think your business is going to take off.
Yeah.
You cannot have two side hustles and think both those side hustles are going to provide you like stable income. If you were to double down on one, you'd probably have much better odds of achieving the outcome you're looking for, which is probably financial stability of some sort, right?
Yeah. You need to focus. I 100% agree. How was that conversation with your mom as a teacher, an immigrant person telling them, yo, I want to drop out of school?
Yeah.
How did that go?
My mom's like South Asian, like I'm Punjabi is my background, and university is the outcome that they want you to have.
Yeah, I know. That's
Right?
what I'm asking. I had a similar story because I dropped out too, and to this day, there's still, no matter what success, it's like there's something about, I'm Arab, so there's something about the culture where it's like a uni degree equals success despite all the monetary or whatever. Like that's just something that's like really propped up. Is that the same for you guys?
It's the exact same thing. Like being South Asian, my parents wanted me to go to university.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the status symbol for them that, my
Exactly.
kid has a either bachelor's of this or a master's of this, right? But they didn't really care in the early stages about me running a business. And all the revenue and these different numbers were just vanity metrics for them.
Yeah.
They weren't excited by that. And even now, like a year ago, one of the content guys on my team, he went up to my dad and he's like, yo, like, how do you feel about your son now? He's like, I'm proud of my son. He's like, do you want your son to go back to university? He's like, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And last year, like in the warehouse at that time, like my content guys were joking around. There was 20 staff around us. It's a small business. Even like if you're under 50 employees, you're still a small business, but there's definitely a lot more scale that you might have from a business than you do a university degree. But my parents don't see it that way.
Yeah. It's always like you can build $100 million business without a degree, and it's like, yeah, but like your degree.
Yeah. And for anybody like that knows Hindi, they always just say like school kab jana hai, which means like when are you going to school?
Yeah, exactly.
I talked to my grandma back in India. She's like school kab jana hai, which is when are you gonna go back to school? Pick up like a textbook and forget this business stuff, man.
Yeah,
Come back to that.
Were they like supportive at the beginning? Because it's when you take this kind of path and route, it kind of has like a mapping where I feel like every person I've talked to that tried to do something outside of this norm, which is like start a business, try to do content, do anything that's outside of the lines of like this traditional path that you didn't want to take and other people didn't want to take.
Yeah.
It's like always at the beginning, your closest people to you don't tend to support you because they don't see the vision. They want what's best for you. Yeah. And to them, it's like, you need to do these steps because otherwise you won't be successful. And so like, was the reaction from your parents, friends, family, did it fall in that same line, or were they very supportive and really helping you out?
My friends were very supportive early on. Like friends were very supportive in the city because I was doing something that at that time wasn't that popular, right? Starting a business in second year university, there was a couple guys doing it, but it wasn't common.
Yeah.
My parents, though, on the other hand, were just like, this is not for you, man. Go to school. I actually had a very bad relationship with my parents for 2 years, to a point where I actually left my parents' house and I went to go live at my auntie's house. So she lived in a condo right next to Square One, and she let me borrow her couch for 4 months. And I slept there. So anytime I see my auntie, I give her a shout because I'm like, when my parents didn't believe in me the first few months, like she definitely took me in and kept me under her wing.
Yeah.
But that's not a story I've actually ever talked about or said out loud ever in my life. It just came to me right now when I was thinking about
Yeah. That's actually crazy because was it because you were going against what they wanted, which is you to go to school, or was it stuff beyond that, like for you to have to go to the point where you have to live with your aunt?
Yeah, they never actually kicked me out, but it was like just a negative sentiment in the house.
Yes.
Right? Like they just weren't too happy with the outcome that I was trying to go for. And they're like, man, we've put so much energy towards this, right? And you don't want to do this. And I'm like, man, this is like what I want to do. I feel like I'm destined to go and start a business, right?
Yeah.
This is not just me trying to like start something and maybe I go back to school. Like I genuinely know I'm dropping out here.
Yeah.
And they didn't think that was the best outcome for me. Affected our relationship in the short term. I went back home and eventually, man, they end up embracing it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if your family's similar, but for South Asian people, like they have very close relationships with our parents. Like for me, like I think my parents are gonna live with me for like the next 100 years. Like my parents are gonna be like living in my household, and it's very much like support your parents the way they supported you.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to do right by my parents and actually do what they wanted me to do.
This is very similar. Like we in our culture, it's like you're very tied with your family. Like the family unit's like super strong.
Yeah.
But I also really resonate with like what you said about like you leaving that environment, because I went through something similar where when you're trying to do this, it's already hard enough battling your own self-doubt where you're like, all right, I'm taking this route. Every day is a hustle. You're like fighting for your life, your business's life. And then the last thing you want to hear is people close to you being like, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. This is going to work. So like I went through something similar where I had to get away, build, and then come back once I was like at a point where I now have the confidence where I have like proven track record that I can really do this. With your aunt, like living during that time period of crashing on our couch, what was going through your mind? Like, what was like that experience, right? Because I feel like that was your like bridge to getting to where you are today. Because if you didn't go through that, I know a lot of people that probably would have given up, went back to uni, been like, I got to make my parents proud. I'll focus on this shit after I got my degree. So like, what was going on mentally? How did you get through that period when you're like crashing on your aunt's couch? You're like, I got to make this work. This is my dream. This is my hustle.
Yeah. So right off the bat, I found a small studio. It was maybe the size of this podcast studio right here. It was about 900 square feet. And I called that my showroom. So while I was staying there, I would go to my showroom every single day. It was an event company's cold room. So it had no windows. It had no lights. But it was like a small 900 square feet room that they rented to me for $1,000. That was like 2 months out of me going to university. I was like, I have to find my own space.
Yeah.
Even if it is like the OSAP money that I have left over that they're gonna come and collect very soon, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. My auntie was always very supportive. She made breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me like every single day. But there comes a ceiling when like you live on somebody's couch, right? It's a 2-bedroom condo.
Yeah.
If you know Anco in Mississauga, it was a nightclub. It was that building that I lived in. And after 4 months of staying there, I was like, man, I gotta go home. Went back to my crib. My parents were like, okay, school, or you got to show some proof of concept here. Showed them the proof that I actually can do this as a living. I'm not asking for, any resources from anybody. This is not money that was able to find through a line of credit. This is genuinely money that I've made from $1 in, $1 out every single day.
Yeah.
In the early stages, I drove a Honda Civic, right? Like that was the first car I had. I had a 2011 Honda Civic. And I drove that all the way up until we opened up our first warehouse in Scarborough. And it was a car that kind of held me down. And I kept my lifestyle expenses very lean, didn't buy clothes, didn't buy watches, nothing, like no luxury expenses, even the slightest bit.
Yeah.
And I just kind of reinvested everything dollar after dollar back into the business.
That's an insane timeline, because I didn't know the story about you crashing on your aunt's house. That was actually,
I've never talked about it ever.
Because I feel like every entrepreneur or business owner has some sort of arc similar to that, where it's like almost like the lowest point, and it's like you got to persevere through that.
I saw a TikTok that was like, every entrepreneur has a season that somebody doesn't know about. And I thought about that. I'm like, I've never talked about it. Nobody in my even close friends know that even happened. And someday when I feel confident enough to go and tell somebody, I might tell somebody,
I'm glad today's the day, bro.
Yeah.
So now how is your relationship with your parents now? How like at this present day? I read online that they currently work with you on the business.
Yeah. So it was actually my dad. He was the first person to leave his job and join my business. That was back in 2022 when I opened up my first warehouse. So right when he saw the spot that we moved into, he was like, okay, I see that he's actually investing back into his business. There's actually some real potential here. And he left his 9-to-5 and joined me. Then 2 years later, when I opened up my second facility in Markham, and I myself moved out to the US, my mom was like, okay, he has a business in Canada. I've been a teacher for 20 years. But if I want my son to do really well in Canada and be able to hold it down for him, I'm going to have to leave my job too. So now my parents both have left their 9-to-5s. They both work in my brand full time. My mom manages payroll and finance.
Yeah.
And my dad manages all of our production staff.
That's amazing. How is that feeling of like knowing that you built this to a point where you're now like, providing for your family and like your family's working with you?
It's kind of weird, to be honest. Like I wouldn't have expected that to happen. Like for them to not be that excited early on and then for them to embrace it now is kind of beautiful. I got to give credit to my mom though, because my mom was the first person to ever tell me to go forward with it. When I say they didn't embrace it, I talk about my dad. So early on, he didn't embrace it,
Yeah.
but my mom was like, do it. She's like, drop out. If you don't want to go to school and you feel like you're going to be much more successful through a business, go trust that instinct that you have. So I think without her belief in me, it wouldn't have been possible. So even though she came to the business a lot later, like I give them all the grace when it comes to the business. Like whatever they want to pull from the business, they're always making clothes. Like I'll send you a couple videos, but my dad is at the warehouse every day with the production staff, and he's making samples every single day.
That's so amazing.
He goes to my production staff. He's like, he asked to show them all the unreleased pieces. He goes through the full unreleased catalog. He's like, yo, make me that one. Yo, that one I want. Yo, that print, put that on a red t-shirt and make the print like blue.
Yeah.
My dad's a very swaggy guy. Like from when I was a kid, like he would make me like adjust my suit or make me like tailor like certain items in my closet to make them fit a lot better. So my dad's always been somebody that knew how to, frankly, put that shit on.
Yeah.
And I think maybe a little bit of his energy towards clothes came to us.
And now it's come full circle.
Now it's come full circle. Now he genuinely loves clothes, so he's working with clothes. He's happy. My mom's never been interested in clothes, but the knowledge that she has from like training kids has worked out really well for like payroll and hiring and stuff like that.
She's a good people manager.
She's great with people.
Yeah.
My mom actually has a master's in psychology, so she's very good like reading people, very good at like hiring people, knowing if they're going to be a good fit.
Yeah.
And obviously for like any business, the most difficult part is the people, right? Like
100%.
without amazing production staff, without great like people behind the marketing and the sales, like you can't really scale a brand.
Yeah.
It's always the people.
No, 100%. And there's nobody that's better in the world to manage your finances and payroll than your mom. Like that's one person you could probably trust unconditionally. And yeah, that's amazing. And you mentioned that you have 2 warehouses now. You have one in Scarborough and you built another one in Markham. Tell me more about those warehouses, the process of opening them, what you do with them.
Yeah. So our Scarborough warehouse actually moved to Markham, and then we opened up a new location in Houston, Texas.
Okay.
So now we have a fulfillment and production warehouse in Texas, and then we have another one right now in Markham. The function of those warehouses is print on demand. So every single garment that we make on our website, we only make once the order comes in. Nothing is stocked. The only thing that we actually stock are the blanks, and that we have machines. And anytime an order comes in on Shopify is when we do the production. So our goal is that when somebody places an order on the Where I See website, within 12 hours of them placing that order, we already have a shipping label and we send it out.
That's insane.
That's how print on demand works. So there's already a few players in the space that do it. We're not the first to do print on demand, like Printful and Tap Stitch. There's a couple players that have been in the space for a long time, but nobody's in our niche, which is we print 24 inches by 24 inches. We could blast a full t-shirt. A lot of people have, Chinese machines, and their production size that they could do is only 14 by 16 inches. So for us, when we were starting up a production warehouse, we're going to buy the best equipment. We're not going to skimp out even $1 on the best, in the early stages, we're not going to skimp out on even $1 for the best production equipment.
Yeah.
We're gonna find Japanese machinery. We're gonna have, American stitchers, Canadian stitchers. Like I don't want to skimp out on the product. And I think that's what really sets us apart is we'll never ever cut the product.
And so that you produce these warehouses and machines, you use them to produce for Where I See, and you also have them for other companies, right? So like if I want to start, let's say for my company, ASQ, I want to come in and I want 100 shirts for my team or for an event. You're able to do that for me.
Yeah, we're able to do that for you. So you'd come to our warehouse, you'd pick a blank, and then we'd match you up with a printing service.
Yeah.
And we would just make it for you on demand. You can even come to our warehouse and make 1 t-shirt or 10 t-shirts on the spot. We can do that for people as well. But if you have a larger quantity, like you said, 100 pieces, that would take about a week.
Yeah. Makes sense. And so you're serving like different customers. How would you say the business is split now between the Where I See clothing brand and then the manufacturing for other people, players, companies in the space?
Yeah, so Where I See is actually our clothing manufacturer's biggest client.
Okay.
About 75% of our production that happens in our warehouse is for our own retail brand on demand. And then the other 25%, we have a few corporate clients. We've done printing for Amazon. We've done printing for Microsoft. We've done merch for big A-list celebrities as well.
Yeah.
That's the other 25%. Essentially, we're getting to a point now where celebrities don't want to make merch and host the inventory here in Canada or the US. They have understood that they're going to take on a lot less risk if they do everything on demand. Meaning a celebrity now hosts a website, they have merch right now that's ready to go, but it's only the designs. And then once the orders have been placed, then you have a production company go and fulfill the orders.
Yeah.
That way, they don't have to take on any leverage. They don't have to even invest any dollars if they already have a following. And what we'll do is we'll manage all the production and break them off once the orders come in, or they'll break us off, right? Depending on the client.
That's actually such a smart way to do things, because I feel like one of the biggest things in e-commerce in general, but even with clothing, is like if you get a big order, have a bunch of inventory on hand and it doesn't sell.
Yeah.
Because like I've tried to dabble with the e-commerce space, failed multiple times, but that was one of the things that I learned very early on, which is like I ordered a lot.
Yeah.
Because I was like, yeah, I'm going to sell this, run ads, absolutely no sales. And now I have 500 pieces of this product and it's just sitting there.
That actually happened to you?
Yeah,
500
yeah.
pieces it was?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Where'd you import the material from?
From Alibaba.
Okay, so China.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, this was like in 2017. It was like very start of my entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah.
It was trying everything, every single thing. Nothing seemed to work. And then eventually content worked out and intersected two niches that I was interested in, software and content. And then it finally got our first big client, and then now we're here.
The reason why that didn't work is because the brand wasn't probably established.
No, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't do anything. I literally was like, all right, I now that I have friends that run e-com stores and I've shared the story with them,
Yeah.
they just called me an idiot. They just said, you basically did the worst thing you could possibly do because you didn't validate anything. And so like they gave me advice in terms of like if I were to start a store now, they're like, don't buy anything, set up a landing page, run ads, get people to order, refund those orders, but now you know people will actually order this. And so like there's secret sauces that like, I think e-com is something that I definitely want to tap into. And this is, what you're doing is sick, because if I want to do like a merch line or like a brand, like this is like the easiest way to do it, because I can just hit you up and be like, I need 100 shirts. And then you just print them as the orders come in.
As the orders come in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's very smart.
I don't think you're an idiot though, because as a fellow dropout, let me tell you, a university course costs about $6,000, give or take.
Yeah.
So unless you lost $6,000, bro, even $12,000, let's double it. Unless you lost $12,000, that's like 2 courses. You would have invested that money in learning through either a paid classroom or by just the act of doing.
Yeah.
So the money was going to be spent regardless, right? If you lost a little bit of money from, trying it out yourself, I feel like you probably were able to retain a lot more from that experience than you would have sitting and trying to learn from other people's experiences.
100%. But at the time, I didn't feel that way because
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
broke. Cause I was down bad, and then you spend your last money, and it's like you have a bunch of supply. But I agree, which is why I think you dropping out is so smart, because you only learn. I feel like you only learn when you are actually hands-on, when you get like dirt under your nails and you're actually doing stuff and like making these mistakes and iterations, and like otherwise it's just theory. Everyone has a bunch of theory, but there's no action to it.
There's no doing.
Yeah.
There's no doing, exactly. You only learn from being in the field.
Exactly.
You can't be anywhere else.
So you've been grinding, and your business is growing. How much is your business making? How much is it worth? Are these things you're willing to talk about?
Yeah, it came out actually a couple of weeks ago because we had a journalist ask us the same question, Brampton Guardian, newspaper outlet. Last year we did $5 million in revenue on our Shopify store. And then this year right now we're on pace to do $10 million in sales. But to be honest, not a lot of that is profit, just because I'm a very aggressive person when it comes to investing back into growth. Right now we just opened up a warehouse in the US. We're scaling our team like crazy. I'm buying $100,000 machines, to be honest, they're little stitching machines, but they're crazy expensive. So to be honest, right now we're not profitable, but we put every dollar back into growth.
With that $10 million, is that the entire business, or is it just the clothing brand?
That's the entire business. So including all the B2B stuff and even like our retail brand, the whole Icy brand itself is doing $5 to $10 million right now annually in sales.
I see.
But to be honest, I'm not expecting to be profitable. Like I know a lot of people talk about like taking like a founder's salary, and even that I haven't done.
Yeah.
But we're reinvesting right now just back into the team, back into machinery. I know that even if the first couple years right now are not crazy profitable and we're just meeting the mark and reinvesting into growth, if the brand has enough value, the turn will come. The gears will turn, and the business will someday become profitable, you know?
And what's your vision?
My vision is to be publicly traded. I think in the next 5 years, we'll probably raise. And then in the next 10 years, we'll be on the NASDAQ, we'll be on the TSX. The brand will be something that you can invest in, whether it's one share, whether it's 100. I think that day is very near. My goal is that the Icy brand is in the same conversation as Zara, as Nike, as H&M. I don't want this to be like an Instagram streetwear brand.
Yeah.
But it has to start off that way, right? Like we weren't there in the fields when like H&M and Nike and these brands were starting off, but they started off probably the exact same way that I am, which is like, you know, little by little, you have one piece, you turn it into 100, and you build a larger brand as the day comes, right? You're adding new staff members. We're a bootstrap brand. Like we don't have any investors. So you have to just work with what you have, right? Sometimes you take a little bit of line of credit, you know, that's the approach right now to a startup, man.
Yeah, just like literally grinding. And so you want to raise money for the purpose of like build, because these machines are mad expensive.
Yeah.
Are you trying to build like a global scale, like manufacturing, and like where is it you're trying to see the vision go? Are you trying to have your own storefronts, or is it more of like the back end of like you're the behind the scenes that produces for a bunch of brands?
Yeah. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build the world's first custom apparel manufacturer on demand. So this hasn't been done yet. Like right now, if you want to make merch for your business, you can't go onto a website and find amazing streetwear blanks and print one t-shirt or 100. So I want to be the first site ever to do no minimums. You want to make one shirt, you want to make 1,000, the turnaround time is going to be the exact same, and we'll get it to your doorstep without you having to contact a manufacturer, without them trying to feel out by looking at you how much you're willing to pay.
Yeah.
I think the biggest issue with manufacturers right now overseas is they charge you what they're feeling. They'll go onto your Instagram and they'll take a look as to how much is this person willing to pay for this product. And then they'll price you according to what their mood is that day or how much they think fabric might cost with like a 50, 60% margin. It's not transparent.
Yeah.
There's going to come a day right now in the next few weeks when we launch our new website where you're going to be able to get on-demand printing and everything is transparent. The pricing will go up or down with the more units you buy because fabric becomes cheaper for manufacturers with the more units you buy. And it's not going to be a game of whatever the manufacturer is in the mood to sell you.
That makes sense. Those manufacturers sound like street markets back home where they're like, if they see like a tourist, they're like, this one's 100. You're local. This one might be 5, 10. Like,
and that's why I fly out there, right? Because when I go out there, I meet them face to face. Bro, for some reason, the price drops 50%, 60%. And it's like, damn, when I was in Canada messaging you, why were you giving me this price? It's like, yeah, I know you now. I have a relationship with you. Now, because, man, manufacturers overseas, especially on Alibaba, they charge you based on how much risk they feel like you're going to put towards their business. So if they feel like right now this person might file for a chargeback or they might hassle me, they might ask for a refund, they have to price you and add a margin for the risk they're taking on about your business. But when you go there, you meet them in person, they know you're a decent guy. They can maybe get a feeling that you're not going to try to rip them off or give them a hard time once the order comes in.
yeah,
They'll give you like the friends and family price.
Yeah.
But that comes with a relationship.
you're also serious enough to make the trip to the facility. So I feel like if you're just dabbling like I was, like you're just like playing around. But if you fly out to see this, like you're serious enough where like, all right, this person is really trying to build and do this, and it's just a different energy when it's face to face.
100%. I always say this too. I think the game of business will penalize you if you dabble, and manufacturers as well will definitely penalize you for just fucking around in the industry.
Yeah.
If they get a feeling that you're just starting off, they're gonna make you feel like you deserve the prices of just starting off, because that's your baseline, right? If you started a brand, you're doing your first drop, and you find out that a t-shirt costs $20 just for the blank, you're gonna feel like that's the price for the next couple of years, unless you go and dabble, talk to different manufacturers, right? So our website's going to be transparent pricing, and you'll see the price. And if you feel like a manufacturer overseas can do a t-shirt faster than us, cheaper than us, then you can go with that manufacturer. But I know that it's going to be very hard to compete with the quality that we're looking to serve.
Yeah, it's also like you're building it within North America. So I feel like one of the things that factors in is like shipping time. And so like if I want to ship to Canada, like for example, with a drop shipping, if you're shipping a product from China, shipping it here or Dubai or wherever, it's like 3 weeks. And we live in a day where you have Amazon Prime and like everyone's expecting shit in 24 hours or 2 days or 3 days. Is that like one of the aspects of the business that's like playing into it, where your shipping time, because you're in Canada and you're opening up in Houston, it's like within the same country if orders are coming in from here.
Yeah, I think Amazon's fucked up everybody's perception of shipping
Yeah.
forever, right? The average person now that even has to wait 7 days for a product feels like it should be there overnight. I have people, man, they'll place an order on, this is a recent example, they'll place their order on September 10th, and September 11th, they're like, where's my tracking? Right? Even though our website clearly states that packages take 4 to 7 business days, 7 to 10 business days. It's not like we lie about these shipping timelines.
7 days is not crazy objectively though. It's just like, because we've been so conditioned to like same day, like I order this, it comes here immediately.
Yeah.
In Dubai, it was like the same thing. You can order something and it'll get to you within 5 hours. And that fucked me up because when I came back, I was like, this is insane. Like we don't have this in Canada where you have like same day shipping, but you kind of get conditioned to like this convenience.
Yeah, I was in Dubai as well, and Uber Eats took like 15 minutes to come. Like I ordered a chicken shawarma and it's at my door in 15 minutes, a guy's knocking, right?
Yeah.
I'm tipping them extra just for coming there like
Bro, they're
30
out here
minutes
on
early.
those mopeds. They're in Dubai, they have the mopeds cruising through traffic.
Yeah.
It's actually crazy. Like no matter what I order there, there's like a thing called Noon, which actually Amazon owns. Did you use it at all?
I didn't, but I know what it is.
Yeah.
If you order something and it doesn't come by noon,
15
basically.
minutes.
15 minutes
Yeah,
it is?
it's noon 15. It's like whatever you order. And like, it's not like we're talking about like groceries. Like I can get a PS5. And this happened where we were at my friend's house. Man's wanted to game and he's like, I'll order a PS5. And he ordered a PS5 and it came in 15 minutes. And that was like, I was like, what is this world? Because like, if it gets to a scale where I can literally get, and they have TVs, like they have big things and they'll literally get to you in 15 minutes. And so is that like a vision for your business? I know it's hard to do because these companies are like at an insane scale, but with the shipping of like, if I were to get merch, because your factory is here in Markham, I can imagine like the turnaround time would be exponentially faster than if I were to get it from Bangladesh or China.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like right now, our shipping timelines is like 7 to 10 days. But as we scale, as we have more production staff, more machines, the goal is that in the next couple of years, we can do the 15 minutes, right? Like there's going to come a day where like, if you want to order 100 t-shirts, I can get it to your door the next day. Yeah. But little by little, I think the more time that we invest into our systems, like right now we have a $30,000 software developer that's building out a custom backend application for us. $30,000. He's based in India too. For the same software application, current developers here in Canada tried to quote me 80 bands.
Yeah.
Right? They said 300, 400 development hours.
And that developer in India is probably better.
He's probably better. He's going to get it done as well, right? For sure. But man, we're just investing into better software. We're trying to improve our inefficiencies. And I think that'll only happen right now, like if we just take it day by day. That's all it is. But yeah, the goal is that in the next year, 2 years, that we could do that 15 minutes thing, man.
That'd be insane.
That'd be crazy.
Well, it is compounding, like, like thinking about where you were a decade ago versus where you are now. You can only imagine where you'll be in the next decade, right? Like the compounding effect really, it's like one of these things, like it's hard to grasp.
Yeah.
But when you hit that like hockey stick moment, like it's insane. So for you, what is that hockey stick moment? It's like that 15-minute.
Being publicly traded.
Publicly traded.
I think the goal of every business owner should be to be publicly traded. Like, why would you not want the most amount of upside with the largest scale potential you have? Anytime I talk to a business owner and I feel like they're not thinking large enough, I have to take a step back because I actually feel like I might end up disrespecting them. Because why do you not want the most out of yourself? Why would you not want to test your potential? So for me, like I know my potential is not running a warehouse in Markham in Houston. That can't be my forever situation.
Yeah.
So I know if I have limited time right now on earth, why would I not see if I could take something publicly traded? There's tens of thousands of companies that are publicly traded, tens of thousands of founders that have done it already. Why can't I? That's my point,
No, that makes sense. It's actually also interesting because there's this quote by Naval where he says, it takes the same amount of energy to run a family restaurant business as it does to run an S&P 500. Like running the business in terms of effort, like they both put in the same amount of effort. The one variation that I think that they have is leverage. It ties in with what you said, where it's like, it's just about what you're trying to pursue and the problem you want to solve. And the bigger it is, the same amount of effort is going to be put into running a shawarma stand as it is to running a huge $100 million business. It's just the leverage you have and the thinking of like what you're trying to accomplish is that much more. So I 100% agree with you where it's like, you might as well try to do the thing that's the biggest that still makes you feel alive and like is interesting to you.
100%.
So yeah,
A guy running a pizza store and a guy with a scalable e-com business are working the same amount of hours.
Yeah.
They're working equally as many days in, days out.
they're both grinding. They're both hustling.
But which one has more upside with the amount of time they're putting in? How much more value is one person giving to society than the other? I'm happy you brought up Naval because, man, Naval is my GOAT.
Yo, he is
my
the GOAT.
I tell everybody, Naval is my GOAT.
Yeah, he's actually like inspired, and he's definitely played a very big factor into where I am today. Just reading that thread, I'm sure you're familiar with it, the How to Get Rich Without Getting Lucky. It unlocked some shit in my brain that was like...
Instead of the tweet thread, man, you got to check out Naval's 3-hour How to Get Rich podcast. It is on Spotify. I listened to Naval's How to Get Rich, changed my life. Like 2020, when I heard it for the first time, I listened to it, man, 100 times over just that year. And now I think every once in a while, like I'll go and I'll listen to it again and again. Now I've built up a habit where I go listen to How to Get Rich podcast once a month.
Yeah.
And it's not how to get rich. It's literally just like a Bible on how to treat life, money, business, finance. There's so many areas that he covers in that 3 hours that instead of you going to university for business, if you listen to just 3 hours in Naval, you'd get the same result.
I'm actually inspired to go listen to it again because I feel like I've listened to that same podcast.
Yeah.
I remember driving super down bad and it like unlocked something in my brain. But I haven't listened to it in a while. And I feel like as you go through different stages of your business, it's like unlocks different things for you.
Yeah.
And so like you might be at a stage where you're first starting out, you don't get what he meant in a certain like aspect. And then once you reach it, you're like, oh, I experienced this because now I run a 20-person team and like stuff becomes, it's like, it like unlocks itself for you.
So as you experience it. People always ask me what's like the number one resource that I have for them if they're starting a business. I say, go and listen to How to Get Rich by Naval. 3 hours of your life is all you have to invest to get a general grasp of everything there is to know about business.
Yeah.
And anytime somebody doesn't go and listen to that podcast when I recommend it, I'm like, you're not cut out for this.
Yeah.
Because if you couldn't invest 3 hours into learning, you're not going to go and put 3 hours even towards your business. That's going to take you further, right? So
yeah.
That's my litmus test. Did you listen to How to Get Rich by Naval? That's my litmus test.
Yeah. It's a good litmus test because I said it before, like people don't do the bare minimum. Like they want to do all these things and then like you recommend a podcast and then you're like, yo, how'd you like it? A month later, they're like what? It's like, all right, you're not cut out for this.
It's not for you.
Yeah. Which is all right. It's not for everyone, this lifestyle.
Yeah.
We asked a bunch of people. I put on a story on Instagram and asked people questions that they had for you. So I'm going to read some of these questions. Yeah. They're not from me. I just need to reiterate that because some of these are interesting.
Let me know.
The first one is, are you single?
I'm not single.
You're not single.
I'm not single. I got a girlfriend.
Getting into that, how do you balance like business with your relationship? How has that been dynamically? Because I know some cases where it's hard to do both. And there's a lot of those like online people that are like, you got to grind, you can't build and have a business. So like, how has that been, you dating and then building up your company?
Yeah. So for me, I was single for a long time. I was never able to find somebody that understood kind of what this takes out of me day in.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend now actually runs her own business. So she owns a salon in California. Her family comes from, a variety of businesses too. And my thing is like somebody, in order for us to be together and do well, they have to understand my language, right? So now if I speak in a certain way about, my business or staff or some of the challenges that I have of operating my business, both in my personal life and at work, she gets me. So if you're running a business, you have to find somebody that also speaks your language. Yeah. That's really all it comes down to.
Yeah, because it does become all encompassing where like you kind of, I catch myself doing this where like I talk about my business all the time and even my friends are like, all right, bro, like, because like it's all I think about, right? And so if you don't have someone that like gets it, it's kind of hard to mesh.
For sure. And it's not to say that like, if you are not a business owner that I wouldn't get along with you, but I say like I probably would have better odds if I'm working 100 hours and somebody's working 40 hours, that they understand like why I sometimes at dinner have to have my laptop out. Yeah. Or why I might end up attending a client's call while we're, at a steakhouse in Toronto. Some people just won't understand that.
Yeah.
That's all it comes down to.
Yeah. And then it's also the support of it, because if you constantly have someone that's like complaining and nagging and like, why are you doing this? Then it kind of throws you off because it's like you need someone that's helping you grow your business and supporting you with it rather than someone being like, no, I don't want this. I want this. I need this. I need this. So yeah, I think it's a very important decision. I've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs or just people in general. And one of my podcast guests says, one of your costliest decisions, he said the two most expensive things in life, number one is taxes, and number two is who you marry.
For sure.
And choose to end up with. It can literally determine where your life goes. The next question is, amongst the saturation of clothing brands, how did you stand out?
Amongst the saturation, we stood out by launching very loud graphics. So for us, I know a lot of people are minimalistic. They want to go simple products like an H&M or a Zara. But why would somebody buy from you if you're selling minimal products when H&M and Uniqlo can do it for a fraction of the price? And it's more accessible. They have retail stores everywhere.
Yeah.
So for us, I was like, if I was to launch a brand, it has to be loud. So now every single print that we sell, it's like, man, we blast our shirts. We sell these like all over print t-shirts that if you were to be in like a mall right now, you'd see it a mile away. You'd be like, okay, that's an icy t-shirt. And that's the way that we stood out, which is just trying to make noise. And maybe that works for us and it wouldn't work for other people, but I'd say like make your products just stand out. In a room, you should be able to be like, okay, that's a Nike product or that's an icy product.
Tying into that point, how have you used how did you grow it other than just the design of the shirt itself? What were like the marketing tactics you used? Did you use socials, run ads? Like what were the things that like behind the scenes of like when you were first getting started from like 0 to 6 figures and then 6 figure to 8 figure?
It's a great question. So 0 to 6 figures, we did everything organically. We only ran content for free, right? On Instagram, on TikTok at the expense of my own time.
Yeah.
Then to get from 6 figures to 7 figures, we had to run ads. We ran a lot of Google ads, Meta ads. That was what we were focused on. Google ads back in 2021 and 2022, when they were underpriced, changed my business forever. Because at that time, people were buying Facebook ads, right? Or they were just focused on organic content. And Google ads were so cheap and so effective because Google ads, they don't look like ads, right?
It's like the first one when you search something.
It's the first thing, or Google Shopping, right? The ads are manipulated in a way where like the ad, like text is very hidden at the bottom. So Google ads really set us in the right direction. Now we're running Pinterest ads, we're running Snapchat ads. I'm trying ads in different places that I think people are not looking. Twitter ads we just started running recently. So for me, it's about where is the underpriced attention. I know there's people that talk about LinkedIn, but like, man, my average consumer is 18 to 21 years old. So I got to go where my 18-year-old consumer is, which is, to be honest, man, it's Pinterest, it's Snapchat, it's Google. Right? So we run a lot of ads, we run a lot of organic content. My goal is we post a piece of content every day. Back when I was going from 6 figures to 7 figures, I made a bet with one of my staff members, which is for every day that I didn't post a video on social media, I would give him $50. There was a month where like I lost hundreds of dollars because I didn't post a piece of content. But there were months in that journey where because I made that bet, we had videos that hit 1 million, 5 million, 10 million views. Because I was so dedicated, right? I have this thing that I say, it's called law of inertia. Law of inertia means things that are in motion stay in motion. Things that are out of motion, they have a very hard time getting back in motion. Meaning if you're sitting still and you're not moving around, you're not trying new things, it's going to be very hard for you to actually get any kind of progress. But if you're a person that's always trying new things, you're always learning new ideas, you're posting content every day, how are you not going to find a winning piece of content or a winning formula if you're trying something out every single day? Right.
I really like the accountability where the $50, because it's such a good way. I do this with my friends all the time, like different things where it's like you're able to stay accountable and do something. And because it's like you said, the hardest thing is when you're first getting started, like when you first push a boulder, that's the hardest. But once it keeps rolling, you don't want it to stop. And I've been guilty of this where it stopped before. And like that transition of like not moving to moving is probably one of the, you need to ride the momentum. Because if you don't, then that opportunity just vanishes.
100%. You can't let that boulder from rolling. Like you have to let it roll. You have to keep pushing it down that hill. Because once you stop, it's very hard for you to get it going again. And that's my thing. That's been my life's motto, law of inertia, law of inertia. I tell everybody that. Just get in motion one time and just never stop.
I like it.
That's all it is.
On the topic of ads and marketing, there's one thing that is everyone's talking about, no matter the industry, and it's AI. How do you see AI working into the clothing industry? Has there been any tools that you've seen that will help you with your business? Whether it's like these AI avatars with ads, or maybe something to do with the technology of making the clothes. How has AI impacted your business or the clothing business in general?
It's made us a hell of a lot more efficient. I think there's a lot of people right now that are talking about AI replacing humans, and I feel like we're still a way out from that happening. There's a lot of gimmicks right now in AI too, right? There's a lot of people that are launching AI tools that are just derivatives of ChatGPT.
Yeah.
They're just pulling from Chat's open API and they're trying to launch a service. And that's just not the way that I think the market's going to end up going. I think all AI has done is it's made people that were running businesses or people that are, working every day just more productive, right? We have right now an OpenAI subscription for every single one of our staff members.
Yeah.
We pay for it. We'll pay the $20 because we know it's going to make our staff a hell of a lot more efficient. Whereas you have schools right now, like my sister's in school, they're trying to pay her to not use ChatGPT. Like they're advising that you don't use any AI. So it's going to take a year or two for these universities and colleges to catch up and realize that this is inevitable. And you either arm all your students with AI or you just, you try to stop them from using it and they won't.
That's impossible.
It's
That
impossible.
is the stupidest thing I've heard. I didn't know they're paying students or like trying not
paying,
to,
but,
like they're trying to get them to not use it. But like,
yeah,
it's literally the most backwards thing ever because it's an insane technology. Like no matter the industry, even like as someone running a company, one of the things we have with ChatGPT is I created an internal custom agent
yeah,
where if you have questions, don't ask me. This agent is literally me and all my knowledge here. So
Yeah.
we have a bunch of SOPs and processes, and that agent alone has probably saved me like hundreds of hours. And it's made my employees way more productive because they no longer have to wait for me, my time zone. Some of them are out in Dubai, some of them are in Europe, and it's like they can just access this thing. It's such a simple thing, and it'll give them a step-by-step guide on how to do basically anything in our company.
yeah.
And so something like that, you're trying to prevent people from like having access to it. And this is such a small, easy use case to do, but like I feel like it's literally increased our productivity, I would say, by like at least 5x.
We have about 20 to 25 different agents as well. We have them labeled on chat as different like staff members.
Yeah.
Like I have a hiring manager, I have a strategic advisor. I'll show you like a couple prompts that we have too, and let me know what you
Yeah.
think. But I think a lot of people, if they just prompt chat the right way, like it would change their life. Just take this in right here, like the way I have it prompted. Yeah, so I told chat right now, I was trying to get a strategic advisor, somebody that could help me with just like my inner day-to-day, right?
Yeah.
I told it to have an IQ of 180. I told it to be brutally honest and direct, that it's built multiple billion-dollar companies. It's got a deep expertise in psychology, strategy, and execution, and that it cares about my success and won't tolerate any excuses or bullshit. I told it to think in systems and root causes and not surface level fixes.
Yeah.
And I gave it like
That's a
100
great
different things. I
prompt.
told it my mission. I told it like how to, prompt each response. And just the more info that I give it about my business and who I am as a person, the better results it puts out, right?
Yeah. I'm realizing this is like step one of the AI. I have a couple tools that maybe I'll show you after. They're actually like companies we work with.
Yeah.
And I think they would change the e-commerce space a lot. And basically you can build these workflows and get it to call ChatGPT or other LLMs. Like one of the ones I have right now is for influencer marketing.
Yeah.
And so if you ever get inbound for influencer, it's an agent that just replies to emails, but also sends out outbound emails.
No way.
And so it's insanely sophisticated. It's a company called Lindy. We work with them. They helped us create it. And it runs all automatically. And anytime we have any influencer campaign inbound, because we manage them, it'll just reply with rates and it'll actually close deals. Like it closed a 6K sponsorship completely on its own. It just needed a final sign off from me. Because you tell it your rates, you tell it everything. And like there's all these use cases. Like for you, I can imagine there's one where you could put on your website.
Yeah.
And it'll be like I don't know if you have one already, where it's like a support agent.
Yeah.
And it's able to like literally do anything a human would in terms of like support, refund, returns, shipping. Like this is just like getting started. So I can only imagine where it's going to be like in a year, 2 years, 3 years. And so are you using any tools other than ChatGPT currently?
Yeah. We use Claude. I use Perplexity. I use quite a bit. Like I use a Clip.to, which is like a clipping one. There's another tool I use. I've been gatekeeping one AI
Drop
tool
the
for a long
sauce.
time. It's called Opus. You know what Opus is?
Yeah.
Oh
Opus
my
Clip?
God, bro.
That one's insane.
You put a 2-hour podcast into Opus, it gives you like 60 different clips for like $60, $70 a month. It's not a
Yeah.
cheap tool, but man, Opus is something I've been trying to hide for a long time.
No, they are great. We use them as well. Like,
Opus?
yeah.
So
I'm in the
good.
content space, so all these AI tools, image generation, video generation, because I think that's going to be the future, where like there's companies literally paying thousands of dollars for you to create AI video ads for them, and it's like it doesn't look real, but I can only imagine once it gets to a point where it's like indistinguishable. Me and you aren't even going to be doing this podcast. You're going to send your AI avatar. I'm going to do mine, and they're just going to yap.
100%. It won't have any ums, no pauses.
No, nothing.
It's just the rawest us.
Yeah. How do you find balancing your business life with your health, from sleep, family, relationships, mental health? How do you balance, and like what's your outlet for your business?
I track everything. Like I have right now Google Calendar. Every single hour of my day is planned and tracked. I even put my gym schedule on there. Anytime even my girl wants to meet me, she goes onto my calendar. She takes a slot for a time where I could, sit down with her for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, like even my parents, like I have a time right now where I meet with them for 30 minutes every other day. So I've had to kind of systemize what my schedule looks like in order for me to be successful going to the gym, right? Meeting my friends. Everything has to be kind of tracked and organized. It also gives me like a reference point too, right? Of what my previous days have looked like. There was like a saying I saw online, which is like, what you don't track, you can't fix. So now every time I spend my time, I have it tracked and organized, and I can see what my days have looked like in the past and what they could look like in the future. But yeah, that's worked out well for me,
I feel like that's a theme of like a lot of quote unquote successful people.
Yeah.
They all obsessed with their calendar and tracking. Like every single one unconditionally, no matter what area, they always say the same thing. And it's like, my calendar is my go-to. Like everything is on there, from sleep, work, relationship stuff, going out to dinner. Because I feel like a lot of people don't realize how they spend their time.
Yeah.
And so once you do, and like, let's say you track everything and you're having a bummy day or lifestyle. If you put it on the calendar and you're like, I just, whatever, played video games, and you put 5 hours, and you're like, there's a correlation between where you're at and what you're doing. And so I think that's like a great tip, and something that I think everyone should do, which is like, no matter where you are in your life, just track everything and be brutally honest about it and see where your time is going.
And you track those 5 hours on a calendar. It takes a minute.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like it takes you a lot of time, but it gives you like an idea of what your time has done in the past. And if you want to improve it, this is how you fix it.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, bro. Thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate you. If you have any last words, remarks you want to make to the people, anything you want to close off with.
Yeah, man. Yo, I appreciate you bringing me out here, man. It's great. I've seen a lot of your content too, income interviews. And thank you for bringing me here today, man. It was a pleasure. Bro. And the studio's called
Grid.
It's called Grid. Yeah, we're at Grid Studios today, man. Beautiful studio too.
Yeah.
I know the Money by Happiness guys, they shoot out of this one. So it's my first time here. It's beautiful, and hope to be back, man.